You're watching Taste of Victory.
I've made a couple videos now pointing out the flavors and references to other Digimon media in the trading card game, but some of these go deeper than even I realized at first. There is a deeply passionate team of designers and artists at work on this game, and I think it's time we highlight that today with the 5 most obscure references in the Digimon TCG, celebrating every nook and corner of this franchise's history. Number 5. King Tsukumon in the upcoming Booster Set 11 has the on-play or when digivolving effect if your opponent has 6 or more cards in their trash, or if you have 3 or more cards with Tsukumon in their name in your trash, one of your opponent's Digimon becomes Tsukumon, white, DP 3000 until the end of your opponent's turn. We see that the effect has 2 trigger conditions, and usually you're going to activate it off the 3 or more cards with Tsukumon in their name in your trash condition, because 16 cards is a lot to ask of your opponent to have in their trash. But where is that 16 coming from? That's a pretty specific number. Well, it's a reference to something really specific in Digimon World 1. Digimon World 1 is a really obtuse and deep game. There are a lot of specific evolution requirements the game doesn't tell you about. Stuff like fight 50 battles and max out a certain stat to get a specific champion Digivolution. The one players are probably most familiar with in this game is Agumon, who if the player hasn't met any champion Digimon requirements, your Digimon will automatically turn into after 6 in-game days. The game has a virus meter, which when maxed out will turn your Digimon into Tsukumon. Digimon World 1 is basically like a pet simulator game and your Digimon needs to poop. You need to take it to porta potties and not let it poop on the ground. If it does poop on the ground, it'll fill up the virus meter. Care to guess how many number of times pooping on the ground will max out the virus meter and turn your Digimon into Tsukumon? Yeah, that's right, 16 times before you're disappointed with your Digivolution. Oh, come on! If Digivolve this way, however, you can go to Trash Mountain and talk to King Tsukumon, who can turn your Digimon back to normal, hence giving him this effect in the card game. Unless you had the strategy guide back then, absolutely no one knew why the heck this happened and just hated Numemon and Tsukumon. Now, thanks to the internet today, it's documented across multiple sites, but you still have to do some snooping and taking notes if you don't want to mess up your Digivolutions in Digimon World 1. Number 4. This one we've covered on the channel before in a short. The art of the X3 Agumon references the opening cutscene to the game Anode/Cathode Tamer. In the game, Ryo's power goes out and Agumon appears to him through his laptop, bringing him into the digital world. While we don't see Ryo in this art, you do see the sash of his bag dispelling any lingering doubt about the context of this art. The game was released exclusively for Bandai's Japan-only handheld, the WonderSwan, their attempt to get into some of the handheld market dominated by Nintendo's Game Boy. While this is a very old Eastern-only game, among the Digimon community online, this game has become a pretty well-known oddity and fun fact. There is an official translation which you can play at any time online, so this is only making it to number 4 on this list. Number 3. Back in the beginning of the game with Booster Set 1.0, we got a set of box toppers called Vidramon Zero and Tai V-Tamer. Later on, as a box topper in BT8, we got an All Force Vidramon Zero promo. This tie may look pretty different to people that only know the first season of the anime, and even weirder yet that he's paired with Vidramon. That's because these cards aren't referencing any continuity of the anime, but rather the first Digimon manga ever printed. The V-Tamer manga series, printed in the Japan-only V-Jump magazine, which still reveals new cards for this game to this day in Japan. This series actually predates the anime, premiering on November 21st, 1998, which is why a lot of the series' norms may not be entirely correct in some instances, and why Tai is so different. This is an alternate universe one not related to the Tai in the anime. His partner is Vidramon named Zeromaru, who was in his V-Pet toy before being transported to the digital world. While the series did get compilation volumes outside of the magazine, it has never had an official English release. English fan translations do exist online, but the series has been rarely referenced in other Digimon media, leaving it to become more of interesting trivia to Western fans. At least the Anode/Cathode Tamers impacted the lore of the very anime for some reason. Number 2. The new BT12 War Greymon depicts it fighting a Metal Tyrannomon. Aside from being awesome, the art also has a pretty obscure reference. Everyone knows the 3 Digimon World games on the PS1, but did you know that there were technically more in Japan? First up, meet the Pocket Station, a Japanese exclusive PS1 accessory. These are really similar to the VMUs on the Sega Dreamcast and can interact with various PlayStation games and serves as its own simple portable game. It interacted with Pocket Digimon World, a game in the same vein as Digimon World 1. There's also expansion discs to Pocket Digimon World adding in new Digimon lines. You can send your little guys from that game to this and raise them on the go. The game was mainly played on this Pocket Station accessory and can even let you transfer Digimon from World 1 to World 2. If we watch the opening to this Japan-only game, War Greymon fights a Metal Tyrannomon. Take a look at the ground of both and you see similarly damaged Earth. This art references the specific fight from the opening. Pocket Digimon World isn't a famous Japan exclusive that fans demanded a localization for, with petitions like Digimon World Redigitized for example. It's largely been forgotten into fun trivia since it was just an expansion that never left Japan to an already existing game, and requires an accessory that many of us over here in the West have never even heard of. Number 1. In BT12, we got the in-game debut of All-Force Digimon X. The X Digimon were introduced first through the V-Pet toys with the newest update to the Tamagotchi-inspired toy at the time, the Pendulum X. These step-tracking, monster-raising toys have had many Japan-exclusive revisions. We in the West have actually gotten so little of them in comparison. In All-Force X's art, we see that he is standing over a defeated Dino Tigermon. He doesn't only look cool though, there's a specific reason to the Digimon he is standing victorious over. The Digimon Pendulum toys had a number of revisions throughout the decades, and the Pendulum X line specifically had their own series of revisions. Usually these revisions just include things like roster changes, new items, and the like. We can see the roster for the Digimon Pendulum X 2.0 pictured here. Notice the Dino Tigermon. If we take a look at the Digimon Pendulum X 2.5 exclusive mons, there's quite literally only one roster change, and that is All-Force Digimon X over Dino Tigermon. Truthfully, we don't know the intentions from the artist, but Dino Tiger is not a well-known mainstream Digimon at all. These two are such specific Digimon to choose to depict in the card art together that it has to be the intention. This is referencing a revision to a Japanese-only Digivice toy that is so old and is such a small, easy-to-miss change. This is so ridiculously specific that it makes the most obscure reference on this list. Credit where credit is due to Wyvern Lord Lou for being the first person to point this out on Twitter. And that is going to be the top 5 most obscure references currently in the Digimon TCG. I hope you guys enjoyed this video because it was so much fun researching for this video. Discovering the PlayStation Pocket Station and the Pocket Digimon World games was so neat, and they could honestly have an entire video dedicated to just that. And I would love to make a video on Pocket Digimon World and the Pocket Station one day. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed this and learned some fun facts. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.